Happy Wednesday and welcome back to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. I had a great networking event this morning in the club room, so check out Mark Moyer's events, winagainacademy.com. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we welcome Joshua Bennett from Yasuke Audioworks. I hope I said that correctly. Welcome to the Wolff Den. The first order of business is to wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
See the blessed shirt, blessed to live another day, blessed to live another year. We're getting older every day. Hopefully that's the goal. So glad to have some time with you on your birthday.
Thank you.
Just for the people in the audience who don't know who you are, give us a quick introduction and then let's get into it.
So my name is Joshua Bennett. I am originally born and raised in Toronto. I run and I founded Yasuke Audioworks, which is a bespoke audio manufacturer. What we look to do is we look to design and manufacture earphones, headphones, and speakers. So essentially, what we basically do is we're basically like the Rolls Royce of the audio industry. Really, you come to us and we basically design your dreams and make them a reality. So if you want a certain color, a certain material on your earbuds or anything else like that, we're able to provide that for you.
And what is Yasuke? What it's obviously we have the information scrolling. What is that? What does that mean?
So really, anyone who really knows me, I'm a huge history buff. I love history. I love Japanese culture. So the name is actually Japanese in origin. So in the late 16th century, there was a African slave brought over to Japan from Africa, and he was brought over by Jesuit priests. And what had happened was that when they got to the capital of Japan, which was Kyoto at the time, the ruling I would say Lord Oda Nobunaga, he was known as the Great Unifier. They actually met, and since they'd never seen a person of color before, they're like, why is he dirty? He needs to go take a bath. So they shut him down. His skin obviously wasn't changing, right? So essentially, the whole story was that he was given the rank of samurai, which is about, I would say, a vassal in the Japanese, I would say, hierarchy, which is considered to be like almost like a lord or someone of close to that status at the time. And really, he was the first foreigner to be given that rank of samurai. So a lot of other European people of European descent and a lot of other people of other nationalities were actually given that rank later on, but he was the first. So really in using that namesake, it's a rarity. It's exclusive. The company in itself is very rare, very exclusive. We're only doing a couple hundred pieces a year in terms of our custom work. We are looking to push into stores. That's why we're looking to get CSA approval and so on and so forth like that.
So Yasuke was their name.
Yes.
Interesting. I've been to Kyoto. It's a great place. If anyone's never been, it's a fantastic place.
I always wanted to go.
Yeah, the earphone. Obviously, Dre with Beats was the the big name to come into this. Why earphones? Why customizing? What are you bringing to the market? Why are you doing this? I guess.
So I would say two things. So my grandfather passed away 4 years ago, and it really hit me hard. I wasn't expecting it. None of us were, to be honest. We were actually, I was really sitting down because I was in my final year of college and really trying to figure out, do I want to work? Do I want to work in corporate, or do I want to do my own thing? I wasn't really sure. And really, it really came down to, what am I good at? What do I want to do? And really, how can I help other people? I had been talking about doing headphones for, I would say, like 4 or 5 years, and then I worked at Lint that year or that winter, and I'd saved up all this money, bought a really, really good solid piece, a really, really good heavy piece of equipment, earphones, and I love them. Right, I use them every day. I was pretty hard on them, and by I'd say March they kind of broke in two. So I was like, okay, do I go to the manufacturer? I originally bought it from Costco. Do I go to Costco and pick it up? But really, realistically, at the end of the day, I wasn't really able to exchange it and to be able to buy back into that product. So I'm just like, you know what? I sat down with my aunt and my mom, and I'm like, I want to design my own, and they're like, okay, have at it, right? So I basically spent an entire year just designing and getting the business side ready. I do have some experience in the music world. I love mixing live sound. I used to play an instrument, so I've kind of been orbiting that world for a while. But it was really up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago where I finally said, you know what, I want to take my love of music and just being able to build that into an actual experience where it's a private thing, but it can also be a public thing as well. And then that's how Yasuke Audioworks kind of got started.
And what's going to be the real difference with what you're doing compared to what's out there? Because you can put a color, on your phone. I mean, what separates you guys from everything?
Well, a few things actually. What we do is again, like we said, we have a base model, right? A template to use, right? And then we add different options. So, for example, what we've done with the base model or the template is that we've looked at like, okay, when you typically go into a store, is that the buying experience is very one-sided. Like you really don't hear from the manufacturer unless there's a sale or unless something's broken. With us, sitting down with us is just the beginning. When you order one of our custom made pieces, you're sitting down with a sales consultant. They're walking you through your options. We're not using conventional plastic. We're actually using carbon fiber with the shell. Just considering that again, plastic is it can be broken very easily. I wanted something really light. We originally what we originally wanted to do was we originally wanted to go with wood. That didn't end up really working out because again, wood splinters, wood breaks, and I don't really want to get sued. So so we kind of figured, okay, what, our next best option would probably be carbon fiber, and really what we've done with that is we've actually designed everything in house. So everything that you'll see on our social media, on our website, so on and so forth, all that stuff has actually been designed by us. And we've spoken with doctors in the medical industry, figuring, okay, how can we give you a really, really high quality audio experience without really damaging your ears too much? Because again, any earbud or headphone or really even speaker are going to end up damaging your ears at some point anyway. We just wanted to make sure that you have the best quality possible. So even down to like the audio driver. Typically, what you'll find with the audio driver is that, or with a conventional audio speaker, is that it's more like an ocean wave. So it comes and then it goes, comes and then it goes. With what we're looking to use, we're looking to use an audio driver, which is, I would say, instead of getting one audio speaker, you're getting between 5 and 8 audio speakers, which will produce a much deeper and richer sound, which will be able to give you a more immersive experience. And then what we've also done as well is we've looked around the industry and realized, okay, so if people are only guaranteeing a warranty for a year, I would say 6 months to a year if you're lucky. We're looking to do 2 to 3 years of warranty, just not because we've used poor materials, because we're looking to use the best, but just in case, things happen, 1 year goes out and you're like, I just spent a couple $100 on my stuff, and now the ear doesn't work, or stuff happens, right? So again, what we're looking to do is we're looking to really bring a level of craftsmanship, a level of integrity, and a level of skill back into this industry that it's just not being done. And also as well, what we've also done is we've done apparel, and we're doing raffles and stuff like that. So realistically, it's more of, I would say, it's more like a private experience, like I said, but it's more of a public experience. And again, even some of our higher tier models that we're looking to bring out, we'll be tracking what you're listening to, and basically like Spotify, you're not just getting the hardware, you're getting the charging station, portable charger, and a home station. The home station will be able to take what you're listening to, display it, and again, if your favorite artist is coming to town and there's enough of a draw, we'll get some tickets and raffle them off. So it's again, like I said, it's a private experience, but it can also be a public experience shared with friends and family, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, adding the experience, the digital experience, the technology to it is definitely going to be a differentiator. People are fixed with their headphones. I'm a fan of a wire.
Yeah.
And so I actually have some Beats, but that's not real conducive for walking around, exercising around my neighborhood. This is, but these kind of don't. They're older. They don't work as good. I'm not a fan of the AirPods, the wireless.
Yeah.
Are you looking to capture sort of all of that, or maybe hone in on one type of headphone user?
We were
that combination of the two.
What we're looking to do is I did a poll when I first started out, and I thought about doing over ear instead of in ear, because again, in ear is quite small in terms of building it, and there's certain things that you have to account for size. But the response that I got back was, like you, I used to go wired, right? During the winter up here in Toronto, it snows quite often, and me going outside, shoveling the snow or using the snowblower, and the wire would pull out, or the actual earbuds would drop out of my ear, and I'm like, it really gets annoying, even when you're working out, right? It gets really annoying. It gets really just gets annoying, and then if you step on it, it breaks, and then so on and so forth, right? So really what we decided to do is we decided to just go with a wireless setup, and then try to make it as durable as possible, so that if you do step on it, it's not going to shatter into a million pieces, right? So in terms of market, what we're looking for is we're looking for those people that again, they're fed up with I would say a traditional setup, and they're looking for something a little bit different, and they're willing to kind of walk with us through this process and really be able to give really good feedback, so that we can actually build a product over the next 2 or 3 years and get it up to a really, really high standard.
Okay. Are you looking in Canada to start only in Canada? Is this going to be Canada, US? Is it?
So here's what I would say. The beauty of doing the CSA stuff, like I mentioned, is that we'll be able to push directly into stores at launch if we so choose. The CSA stuff will allow us to be certified both in Canada and the US. So we'll be able to ship it anywhere and anywhere within North America, which is pretty amazing.
That's certainly widens your opportunity.
For sure.
This is a high-end product. How's your price going to be relative to the AirPods and the Beats out there?
So we were originally planning to sell for about $350, but considering I spoke with other entrepreneurs, and they said, your prices are way too low, and some people were even saying that we need to sell for over $1,000, and I'm like, well, you know what? I kind of want to keep it at least somewhat sensible, right? So I figured of starting at just 500, and that's more for the custom side. And then once we get into stores, we're looking to push it down to about 325, 350.
And that starter pack, that gets you what? That gets you earphones,
and the charging, and the earphones, the charging station, the portable charger, and then that will include a 2 to 3 year warranty depending on how we decide to play it. But again, the actual real bread and butter of the custom side is getting that charging station and being able to go to concerts and being more involved. Not to say that we're not working on the apparel side, because again we do apparel, and we're gonna have accessories and stuff like that for people who necessarily can't afford our earbuds, our product, but they'll still be able to be involved in what we're looking to do, and then we can work on getting the price down even further, and then getting it down even further until we're able to service as many people as possible. Because again, we realize that what we're looking to do is a little bit specialized, and it's gonna be a little bit expensive coming out of the gate, and we are looking to take those same lessons and pull them down a peg and then down another peg to make sure that we're able to get, let's say, under $20, so that a college student could realistically buy a pair.
Yeah, you mentioned concert. People are going to wear these at a concert.
No. I mean the tickets and raffling them off and doing that kind of.
Okay, I was going to say there are some earbud companies that are going to try and plug you into the music that's at a show. I know that there was some technology about there. You're new to the world a little bit. How do you get the knowledge and help build the brand? I think I might have met you. Maybe it was either Music Biz or Rock Paper Scissors, Music Tectonics. Do you do a lot of these events? Have you been to them lately?
Well, here's the thing. What we're looking to, or what we've done so far, is we've tried to plug into artists, grassroots, and try to build something up from there. We are right now. We are looking at sponsorship opportunities for other events and stuff like that. So we are going to be over the next few months looking to kind of get out there more in terms of our product. But really, one of the things that was really holding us back was getting the product at least to a point where we could actually present it and say this is what we're looking to do. This is what it'll look like. This is what it'll actually do, and not just be like, okay, it's just an abstract idea, but it's actually in the flesh.
And how do you make that happen? I mean, how are you going to get from now to where you need to?
Well, here's the thing. I think being again really strategic and really understanding the manufacturing side of it. So really, what we've done is we've gone to MakerBot and Aeon and even SolidWorks and Amazon Web Services and really tried to figure out, okay, who are the best partners in the space and who really wants to work with us, and really trying to find the best equipment for our needs. And again, so for example, the prototype, the way that we're producing on a consumer 3D printer, it's taking about 17 hours. With the actual industrial grade 3D printers that we're looking to get, that's going to be about maybe an hour, maybe two. And it's gonna be printed in carbon fiber, and it's gonna be able to hold up to the rigors and stuff like that. So again, it's just about. I think it's just about for us keeping it small, keeping it intimate, but also getting really, really high quality equipment in the building that we can manage, that we can grow at a grassroots level. Because again, like, we're not looking to spend $100,000 on equipment. We're looking to spend maybe a quarter of that on equipment, but still get really, really high grade equipment that will be able to pass on those same things that we promise to the end user.
You mentioned you played an instrument. How did you get into music? What was when you were young?
Well,
factor.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, my mom got me to play piano, And then I played for a number of years. I really didn't care for it too much. In between playing the piano, I was doing live mixing at my church. I went from an analog soundboard of like I'd say 20 channels, 25 channels, all the way up to like a professional grade one, a digital one. That was about 48 channels, and learning how to mix on a regular Sunday evening, on a regular Sunday morning, with a full orchestra, band, choir, basically doing all of that for two or three services on a Sunday, and I
Is
basically
that DJing?
Hmm?
I mean, that's essentially DJing.
Well, I wouldn't even go that far, but it's more of I would say it's more of like being in a music studio setting.
Okay,
And yeah, and kind of learning, the back end, and really it was more of me going in, like they would do practice on a Wednesday, me going in for a couple hours and just learning what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, and really having to use my ears to figure out what's a good mix, what's not a good mix, and then kind of going to the person above me and asking a lot of questions and seeing how they set up everything, set up, tear down, learning the actual aspects of it, and then going to Lionel McQuaid and then asking their salespeople a lot of questions and figuring out, what's a snake, what's an amplifier, so on and so forth, and really that side of what I used to do became really important because I know how to do that, and then that became more of an appreciation for my instrument playing days when I used to play bass.
So, I mean, you just graduated college, right, recently, and this is
So that was like what, I'd say 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. I graduated 20-something years ago. We're gonna call that recently.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
This is really your first venture. I jumped in. I mean, I had a lot of experience in the business world and sales and all this, and then eventually went all in on this. What was the deciding factor to doing that as opposed to sort of working in the industry and going? I think it's great. I support it, and it's I think everyone should go for their dreams and their vision. But what was the thought behind that? And
Well, here's the thing. I've been working on businesses since I was 16. I went from marketing to t-shirts, and then I was working on the podcast at the same time as doing this, and I'm like, well, you know what? How realistically, how hard could it be? It proved to be very difficult, but you know what? That was just my naivete at part.
Yeah.
But I think really, I think it just came from a passion of me just wanting to just try it, and whether or not and whether or not I made it or I succeeded at it, it didn't really matter. At least I tried.
Yeah, no, I love it because it's real, and it's to hear someone say that. I thought that it would be easier than it is, although I thought it would be. I probably thought me thinking it'd be much harder than what you thought it would be. I still thought it might go quicker once you sort of get some things going. But there's value to that being young and jumping into it. But regardless of whether or not this takes off to where you want it to go, there's a lot of successes that you've had that will help you in whatever you choose to do. Let's say it doesn't, but if it does, that's great. We're young. I'm even young, have earning potential to go. If we need to go get a job, we need to go get a job. So just making sure that you're not putting yourself or your family and in a deep hole of debt is really the only important thing. Now, it's good to have a plan and to do all that, but there's value to having a passion and a vision and going after it. And I think I know over the course of my life, probably 5 or 6 times I had some really good ideas, and I just didn't go with it. I was too lazy. I hit that first roadblock. I always say, just do it. Just get right past that first roadblock. you're in it for a little bit. You thought it would be easier than it was, which is
Yeah.
normal. I mean, even it's just that's normal.
Yeah.
Where are you? How far along are you to where you kind of need to be? Are you like halfway there? Are you three-quarters of the way there? Are you only a quarter of the way there? Not till like you're crazy, but to where you're, sort of like it's going to be what you thought it would be at the start.
Well, here's the thing. I when I um, when I first started the business, I figured it was going to be like a tech company, and I was going to be designing software and kind of doing it like that. But again, sitting down with a mentor and having long conversations about this, and she's like, no, you're not a tech company, you're a manufacturing company, and there's a massive difference between the two. And really more or less letting go of some of the things that I wanted to do with the business and focusing on just the manufacturing side of things and building product and focusing mainly on product and focusing mainly on the earbuds as our bread and butter. Not to say that that the apparel, the raffles, anything else is not important, because they are. They have a place here, but again, what we want to be known for is our actual hardware. It's our product. It's the thing. That's the reason why
Nobody's going to care about that stuff if you don't get established first.
Right, and that's completely fair, and that's just the reality. Really, you know what? It's been a constant change of evolution. It hasn't been the company that I founded, uh, in October of 2019 is very, very different from today.
No, I mean, you're generally not in a straight line anyway, but now you got COVID and you got, I mean, with technology, there's always stuff that changes.
And even getting, I would say, even getting just even chips and equipment and stuff during COVID. I don't even know how we even did it. Right? I would say I'm a Christian only by the grace of God, right? That we were able to just to even get the hardware components done.
So
yeah.
What aside from that? I mean, you had visions of it maybe being a little bit. What aside from that did you encounter was much harder than you thought would be with doing a business?
Getting the prototype done.
Okay.
It took 8 months for us to get the hardware component done, but it was a long 8 months. It felt like closer to 2 years. Just with what we had to kind of walk through, with all the different challenges and building. I had to build a team really early, right? Because again, I had to deal with the marketing, and then I had to deal with the technical stuff and stuff that I'm not really good at, and stuff that I didn't really have the time to sit down and kind of walk through myself. And even if I did, it probably wouldn't have come to fruition as quickly as it did. And really realizing, okay, I may not have $1 million in the bank to draw from, but I do have some capital, but it's not not to the point where I can snap my fingers and I can have the website up. Or
I know. Yeah, I know that. How do you? I mean, it's very good practice to get the smart people around you, and assign and allow the people who are experts at certain things to do it.
Yeah.
The challenge is when you're an entrepreneur and really a solopreneur, you start, is how do you know when to do that, and is it worth the money to do that, and how do I get that money? So I guess how did you get that?
Well, I think,
was it just capital, raise loans, whatever. I mean, all of that is stuff that happens in business.
Yeah.
But it's tough. These are tough decisions.
Well, here's the thing. If I can be honest, it was a bit of a journey. my mom and my aunt sat me down one day and they asked me, you know, do you want us to fund your business? And I originally said no, right? Because I knew, um, because, and well, two things. I knew how dangerous it was, and I thought I wasn't ready for the responsibility of being able to handle other people's money and family or otherwise, right? I didn't want to put them in a position where they're wondering, is Joshua going to crash and burn?
Yeah.
Right. And they're on the hook. It's not me and it's not just me anymore. They're on the hook too, right? So I had to mature again and realize, okay, I have someone relying on me to succeed now. And then that's kind of how I kind of had to realize, okay, Joshua, next step, marketing, right? I kind of had to realize, I don't really know marketing, right? I think that I know marketing, but I don't know marketing, right? So being able so more or less being able to say, okay, I don't really know anything, and what I like to say is that I'm a generalist. I hire specialists, right? I found my marketing person, and then I found my technical person, right? And again, it wasn't um, born out of a want. It was more born out of a need, right? And constantly going back to my mom, my aunt, constantly going back to my mentor and saying, I've hit this roadblock. How do I get over it? And the consensus being, you need to hire someone, right? And then I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And then going back and then going back and saying, okay, Lord, you brought me this far. You've given me the money. You've given me the capital, and you've done all these things. Help me find the right people, right? And then kind of going through that process of walking through everything.
And that's a challenge too. I mean, it's really important to get the right people. If you make a bad hire at the beginning, it takes you a while to even know that it is, and now you're out money and out person. You got to do so again.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you find these people?
I found them. How did I find them again? I found them through Indeed.
Okay.
They, you know what? When actually, you know what? I didn't find them. They found me.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because they had a choice, right? Once they realized, he doesn't really have anything, because at the time when I hired them, I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a prototype, right? And really them staking their futures on me and saying, I want to hitch your wagon to yours, and you're going to help me get to where I want to go, right? That takes a massive amount of trust.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I say to my employees all the time, I'm thankful for them. I wouldn't be able to even talk to you today if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, and there's value to being, employee 2, 3, 4 at a startup when it goes well. And I think if in a lot of ways, if it doesn't, you've wasted some time. But I feel like everyone is employable; they'll find another job. So I think some people really like that startup world, an opportunity to make a difference and maybe be rewarded. It's a risk, right? Depends how risk averse. Plenty of people take a job; they want that salary, they don't worry about anything else, and that's it, and that's fine. I don't fault anyone for what type of job they want to do, but got to have the people who really have a passion for it, believe in it, and then making decisions. Because the average person who works, they're making very few decisions that impacts product, company, whatever that might be. The average person doesn't do that. In a startup, I mean, they're involved in all the decisions.
It's every day that you're making a decision. right? And realistically, even with us trying to build the prototype, right? There were times when something would happen, like like um like case in point would be, we got scammed, right? We got scammed on the website, and that was hard. And actually having to go to my employees and say, look, guys, we messed up. I messed up, right? Not even not even so much them, but me, right? Because again, I'm the one that has to pay the bill. I'm the one that is the face of the company, right? I have a responsibility to them to make sure that this business gets off the ground, so I can pay them. I can pay them every 2 weeks, right? And that's a reality, right? And even so much with the crowdfunding as well. It didn't work out the way that we anticipated, right? And having again to go to my employees and say, look, guys, I messed up, and really reevaluating, you know, my reasoning for going in, and really sitting down and saying, okay, Joshua, it really was for the money. It really wasn't for the things that you were saying it was for. It didn't really hold true to who you are and to the brand as well, and saying, okay, I have to be more careful next time.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I think it is easy to be true to yourself and who you are, but it seems not to be that way for a lot of people, and especially with success, it kind of, I don't know, it changes people. But that's a great point. Accountability. The buck stops with you, good and bad, and having to take responsibility for it. I had that happen the other day. Deep down inside, I'm not the only one to blame, and the mistake should have been caught. But at the end of the day, I didn't catch it, and that's my fault. And I think I don't have to account to anyone, but when you have to go in front of people and you can admit that, I think it makes it stronger, a stronger bond with your team, and they're going to want to go to bat for you. Understanding that mistakes happen, but look, they have a vision, and you just keep moving forward. Take the next step forward, I think, is what John O'Leary said.
Yeah, for sure.
The prototype. Let's talk about that. It's complete?
The hardware part is done. It's just the software that's really holding us up. So we're looking to bring on a software backend specialist to come in and wrap everything up in a bow.
Okay. What does that process look like?
So we were hiring. We're about to officially announce someone on Friday, maybe early next week, Monday, and get them signed on, and then it should be a couple of months before we're ready to actually say, okay, website's done, backend's done, everything's done, we're good to go. Let's get started, right? So
are there beta testing? You're getting people to use these before, or you're just going right out? Or is that all the same process?
Most likely there probably will be a beta test. We're just looking to bring in equipment, and it's a little bit tricky because we are looking to produce out of province. So we kind of have to pick up and move everything over, which has been a little bit of a challenge. But again, something that I've had to kind of reevaluate every day and just make small, minute changes. But again, our suppliers have been very gracious, which has been very helpful in allowing us to kind of be fluid. But again, we are looking to launch in early 2023. A lot of those smaller issues that we've been dealing with have been cleared. It's just getting over now. It's just getting everything documentation wise ready for CSA so they can look it over and then do a site visit with us, and then we'll get that stamp of approval. Then we're good to go. after that.
This feels like a brand ambassador influencer type of opportunity. Are you in talks
Yes.
with people? Is there who would you love to have? I mean, obviously
So
the big, but is there anyone on your radar?
so right now, if you check our Instagram, we just sent out some welcome boxes to some influencers in Canada. Actually from, I would say, Ontario westward. Um, uh, we are looking to first, I would say, lock down Canada, because again, from a retail standpoint, Canada is a much tougher market to break into than the U.S. Once we get Canada locked down, we will have the opportunity to move into the U.S. I do want to do that strategically because, again, I always use the example of Target and what happened up here. Target massively overestimated their potential, and it fizzled out and died within within a year or two. So we want to be really careful and making sure that we have the right influencers in place, have the right people in place, have the right influencers in place, making sure that we have the right infrastructure in place to be able to manage the influencers. But in terms of who we're looking to get, what we're looking to get is we're just looking to find really grassroots musicians who are looking for a new opportunity, something really down to earth. We'll treat you like gold. And we're not just saying that, we actually mean it. With the welcome boxes, what we've actually done is we've actually sent out. So we've worked with Canadian brands from Toronto Teas, Social Coffee, and Peace by Chocolate. If you look them up on social media, they have pretty big followings. And we were able to work with them and get some really, really just amazing product to our influencers, and they were quite impressed and very happy with what they've gotten. So again, just keep an ear out. We are working on something.
He wanted to know about early adoptions with again, it's more like sounds like beta testing. I think.
That definitely sounds more like a beta test. I would say I'll let you know.
Stay tuned. Follow on them online and follow the website, and you'll get that information. Working in Canada and U.S., I mean, you mentioned let's get the Canada market settled. You could drop these names. I've never heard of them. Same as I could probably say some names in the U.S. that you never heard of. What's the challenge of trying to market to Canada, but also needing to sort of be broad enough to get U.S. appeal at the same time?
Well, the challenge with really any market, I would say, and especially in Canada, is Canadians love their brands, and the U.S. has the advantage on this. With where in Canada we don't really have a Canadian audio manufacturer, so we're the first. That being said, though, it's definitely going to be a challenge to basically change people's buying habits, because again, people are so used to going to a store and going online or going on Amazon and buying a product and getting it within a couple of days. With us, it's custom made, so it'll take about a week or two to get to you. But again, it's quality over quantity, right? So I think once we're able to kind of share the pros plus the cons of our business and really what we're trying to do, I think people are more likely to come on side and say, okay, it's a Canadian brand, they're a startup. Let's give them a little bit of grace and a little bit of leniency with that. And even with the people that I've spoken to, the one thing that I've realized is that it's been more so word of mouth and social media that's really grown our brand, that's really grown our business. And people, and actually seeing people, put a face to the name of the business. I think that's really important. But I think moving forward, I think being genuine and just being really honest about being Canadian and really sharing our story, just like I shared today, that will get us market dominance, or market penetration at least.
what does the market look like in Canada right now for earphones? Is it AirPods? Is it Beats? Is it?
I would say based on the information that I've gotten from an organization called Mars DD. Mars DD basically does a lot of research. They help a lot of entrepreneurs in the tech space, so on and so forth. It's a lot of I would say it's one of two areas, or sorry, one of three areas. So it's either European in nature, American, or Asian, basically. So, but a lot of excuse me, a lot of the manufacturing either comes from the States, China, or Mexico, in terms of build. But in terms of, I would say, market. In terms of market, I would say it's pretty U.S. dominated overall. U.S. or European dominated, I would say.
And when you get rolling, will you have to be U.S. majority, or can you be even throughout Canada, U.S., and elsewhere?
Well, here's the thing. Depending on where we're depending on where we're looking to go, because we are looking to move to one of the maritime provinces, having access to the St. Lawrence River is a huge plus, because it is a major seaway, and I'm actually an international business graduate by schooling. So I do have some idea of how to move things. So I was figuring that, if we went out to the maritime provinces, it'd be much easier to access the European market as well, because we can just put it on a boat and get it out. And again, it just offers a lot more access to different markets than being necessarily in Ontario, even though Ontario is a powerhouse, is probably our most well-known province. It being out east provides more of I would say, a shipping and logistics opportunity. Being that when the time does come and we are ready to move into the States, we have access to New York, Philadelphia, so on and so forth, and being able to ship down there and be able to enter the market from those areas than having to come through Detroit or Buffalo.
All right. Yeah, a lot of moving parts, man. It's like, one thing under wraps, you got to worry about the other thing. What's the biggest thing holding you back right now? The biggest challenge? Change one thing and everything would go woo.
Well, to be honest, the crowdfunding was our at least in my mind, it was our saving grace. It didn't really work out that way, just because, again, we jumped the gun on a lot of different things. Our website wasn't ready, our prototype wasn't ready, we weren't ready, right? And we thought, okay, we're gonna raise all this money and blah blah blah. It didn't end up happening. I took it personally really hard. But again, nothing that didn't really slow us down. But if we had the capital, then things would probably move along a lot faster, because we could circumvent a lot of issues, such as being able to find a location to actually put manufacturing, getting the right personnel in place, because you can find anybody, but again, you need the right people in place, and they're not easy to find. Getting our infrastructure built in for the website, getting that done, and not to say it's not getting done now, but it's been a lot of, I would say, pitfalls that we've kind of had to walk through instead of walking around.
Right. Can you re-crowdfund? Can you go back out and then down the line? And
sure, I would say yes, but again, realistically, is that what the market has for us?
Yeah.
Right? And really sitting down, are we gonna do an angel round? I don't know. Are we gonna try to bootstrap it? I don't know.
Is that a pre-order? I mean, what's the difference between pre-ordering and crowdfunding?
Well, they're more or less one and the same. Whereas in terms of product, but in terms of crowdfunding, that would have given us a little bit more of a runway, because again, instead of just buying the product, you're able to buy a little bit more in terms of perks and opportunities that we wouldn't be able to offer with a pre-order.
Yeah. And how much of it is like, look, we really need to get this prototype before we can do a lot of this stuff, whether it's marketing, it's going for funding, it's partnerships, all of that.
So you're asking me a question?
Well, I'm just saying the prototype really, until you get that, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of on hold, isn't it?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. And you know what? I was having a chat with both my employees actually, and after the crowdfunding failed, and to be honest, I'm actually kind of glad that it didn't really work out, just because we were able to kind of sit back and go, okay, what's working, what's not working, and really a lot of things that we hadn't really considered popped up during the crowdfunding, and we realized we weren't ready, and we had an amazing foundation, right? But there were still some holes in the foundation that needed to be plugged before we were ready to go, right? And again, using and actually going a little bit deeper and using the assets that we already had, and by means of that, I mean the apparel, the raffles, the stuff like that, and being able to build brand awareness to the point where we don't even have to rely on spending money on ads, where we can actually go all organic on the product, on the crowdfunding or whatever, bootstrapping or whatever, and we're able to use that to get us going at least.
If you could pick any three influencers to pitch your product, Canadian famous people, what other two would you pick besides Nickelback?
I would pick just for reach.
Bieber?
Maybe not. I would pick. To be honest with you, I would pick either Drake, The Weeknd, or Shawn Mendes. So one of those two for the two other spots. Just considering that we're only about one or two people away from them. I know I've actually met people who are either in their sphere or are like one or two people away from them. So it actually wouldn't be that far of a stretch to actually get the product in their hands. It's just, are we big enough for them to take notice?
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, I didn't realize he was Canadian until he was in the news a lot. There's a lot of people you don't realize who are Canadian.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey, Michael J. Fox, and these are all people I never knew were Canadian until I remember. I forget if it was on Jeopardy or who knows why, but I started looking it up. I'm like, man, there's a lot of these people that we didn't have no idea, and they're American treasures. American treasure. Well, that'd be great if you can get Drake, or The Weeknd, or anyone who's known in the music world to get behind this for whatever reason. Obviously, prototype first. It's an expensive thing to just give to people, so you got to be, careful and choose wisely and strategically with who you do give to try and get some visibility and some credibility in the marketplace. We're going to let you out of the Wolff Den with the same question we let everybody go. You got 24 hours to spend with anyone in the world. They have to be alive, and you can't be related to them. Maybe you've already said the answer, but who would you choose, and what would you guys be doing?
You know what? I would choose Warren Buffett.
Okay.
Simply because I've heard of his story, right? And it's not so much about the music industry for me. It would be more so for his business acumen. Because I know that once we're able to sit down and chat, I know that I would have a ton of questions for him, and he would be able to navigate me to the right people, to the right connections, so that the business would actually be able to grow, and myself personally as well, right? I think that's really important. And again, his philosophy of growing slowly is kind of been my philosophy as well. So I think he would be able to kind of give me a longer view. So instead of just thinking about next year, thinking about, in 10 years and 20 years down the road, and kind of how I want to position the business now so that we're able to get to those milestones later down the road.
Yeah, he's not you're not the first person who said his name. Would be a great conversation and someone to spend time with, a guy who's as successful in business as anyone we know, and then also had many failed businesses. So a lot of lessons to be learned there. A great choice, especially if someone like you and me trying to just find our way. The struggle is real, right? It's a tough thing to do, but it's a rewarding thing to do when you do it. I encourage you to keep effort, and I applaud you for doing, making the choices that you've made and getting to where you are today. Not a success, maybe by the standards of everyone of, business and revenue and where we're at, but certainly a lot of successes along the way and a lot more to come. So follow him online, Yasuke Audioworks on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, and check out the website for when they are going to launch, hopefully early 2023. Appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday.
I will try. I will try.
The rest of your birthday, and we look forward to seeing this whole thing when it's out there.
Cool. All right, thanks.
All right.